welcome everyone to today's class. We'll be looking at fraction. Fraction. On a quick one, when we talk about fraction, what do we mean by fraction? Fraction simply means a part of a whole. Now, if I have, say, a circle, and I divide it into two parts, 4 parts now. Now, if I pick this one and I shade it, this shaded portion now is 1 part out of 4. 1 out of 4 parts. Now, unshaded will be 3 out of 4 parts. So, fraction is just part of a whole. Alright? So, if I have 12 over 15, what does it mean? It simply means that I'm having 12 parts out of 15. That is what it simply means. That out of 15 parts, I'm having 12 parts. That is the meaning of fraction. That is the simple meaning of fraction. Now, fractions are written as numerator and denominator. Now, if I have 7 over 12, the number on the top is the numerator, and then the one under is the one we call the denominator. Alright, that is fraction. Now, the next point to go into is to talk about whole number as a fraction. Now, what do we mean? Now, whole numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30, 120, 700. Those are whole numbers. Now, whole numbers can as well be in the negative. -7, -24, -80, and like that. -1, -2, -3. They are whole numbers. Numbers that are without decimal points. Okay? So, now when we have whole numbers and we want to make them to become fraction, what do we do? Now, when we have whole numbers, okay, let me put it this way. I say whole numbers as fraction. So, when you have a whole number, say like 5 now, for instance, now you want to make 5 to become a fraction, then you just make it to be 5 over 1. It becomes 5 over 1. If you have -28, for instance, and you want to make it to become fraction, it becomes -28 over 1. Now, this is how we make fraction, whole number to become fraction. Next, we want to see decimals and percentages as fraction. Alright, I said we're looking at decimals as fraction. Now, decimals are numbers with decimal points. Say 2.5, 0.78, 3.124. These are numbers with decimal points. Those are the ones referred to as decimal numbers, especially the numbers that are behind the decimal points. Alright, so if we want to make decimal numbers with decimal points as fraction, what do we do? Take for instance, if I have 0.5, this is a number, a decimal number. Now I want to make it to become fraction. It becomes, this 5 is written, because that's the only number we have here, then this decimal point over this decimal point is represented by 1, and then the number of digits that we have behind the decimal point we count will tell us the number of zeros we're going to be having. Now I have only 1. That means I will have just 1 0. So 0.5 is the same thing as 5/10 when written as fraction. Okay, now if I have something like, say, 0.02, the number here is 002, and 002 is still 2. So we say 2 over, decimal point is represented by 1. Then I count the number of digits after the decimal point. I have 1, 2. Then I have 1, 2. Okay? Now, if I have something like 0.35, okay? 0.35. This one becomes, the number here is 035, which is same thing as 35. So we have it as 35 over, the decimal point is represented by 1, and then I have how many digits? 1, 2. I have 2 digits, and then I put 2 zeros. Now, if I have something like, say, 3.25 now, for instance, now this one has a whole number part and then the decimal. So you have 3.25. That one becomes, the number here is 3, 2, and 5. So we have 325 over, the decimal is the one that is still represented by 1, and we count the number of digits after the decimal. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have 2 zeros. Now, these are ways by which we make our decimal numbers to become fraction. Now, let's look at the percentage side. How percentage as well becomes fraction. All right. Percentages as fraction. All right. Now, take for instance, if I have, say, 32%, 32% is the same thing as saying this 32 divided by percent. Percent is 100. Percentage is 100. So we say divided by that 100. If I have 400%, for instance, is the same thing as this 400 over percent, which is 100. Of course, I know you can cut. I'm not going there yet. It's the same thing as saying 4 over 1, which is 4. So the basic thing for now is this one becomes 400 over 100. All right. Now, if I have something like, say, 64.5%, and I want to make that to become a fraction, this one becomes 64.5. Please follow me on this. 64.5 is the number first. This is the number. Over percent, 100, which is 100. But remember, we have done decimal as fraction. So now I want to consider this point. Then to remove this point, it becomes 645 over. Now this 100 has been here. I am writing the 100. Now remember that during decimal, this one is supposed to become 1 or be represented by 1. But because I already have this one, I will not bring in 1 again, but it's still there. So I just count the number of digits after the decimal and I add it to what I have on ground. Here I have only 1, then I had 1 more 0. So 64.5% is the same thing as 64.5 over 100, and then is the same thing as 645 over 1000. Now, this is how we make percentages, decimals, whole numbers to become a fraction. Now, before I go into equivalent fraction and then simplest form, I will want to quickly give us a very short classwork. I'll give us a very short classwork. You just do that very quickly and then we'll move next to equivalent. All right, this is a classwork for us. Write as fraction. The first one, 0.25. What will it be if you want to write it as fraction? And then the second one is 28.5%. What will it be? Please, before you solve, as you're solving, I want your name to be the first thing. Write your name and your class. E.g., if my first name is Tolu, I will say Tolu, JS1. Then you solve. Snap it, send it to me, let me see, and then we'll continue from there. Thank you.